All right, morning, folks, or afternoon, whatever it may be for you. In this video, I want to just run you through our angle of impact lab setup one more time. So whether you've been absent or not, because this is a lab we're doing over 3 days, it's expected that every forensic student does complete the angle of impact lab. And as far as supplies go, you're going to want your blood and your pipette. You're going to want your paper protractor cut like this. And you're going to want that manila folder I gave you or that you picked up from school and some sheets of paper, also tape. And what we're doing in this video, there we go, or what we're doing in the angle of impact lab, I should say, is we're looking at how we can determine the angle at which a blood drop hit a surface based on its width and length. Basically, we're basically confirming that this is something that we can do in blood spatter pattern analysis. So, hopefully you have the angle of impact document open. And as far as kind of steps I would do, first thing that I would do is tape my paper, just one of them, to one side of my manila folder, because this is what we're going to drop our blood onto. You know, we did this with our blood drop lab, where we dropped from different heights. Well, now we're going to keep the height the same. We're just going to drop blood so it lands at different angles. And then the other thing that we need to do is we need to tape our protractor. And I like to tape it to the edge of a table. It's going to make our lives easier. So I'm just going to get my tape set so you can see the angle on this protractor. And I'm going to try to tape my protractor so that my center line there is centered right on the top edge so that it's visible. This is kind of tough, but roughly like that. We want it to be pretty level. There we go. I'll kind of do that. All right. So again, we're going to drop at different angles. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and 90. And then after our drops dry, we're going to measure the width and length and then do some calculations. So to get the angles, again, what you're going to want to do is center. Center your manila folder on the center of the protractor. And if it's just lying flat like that, that would be your angle of 90 degrees. The blood just falls straight down and it hits the surface at a perpendicular angle, at that 90-degree angle. So you could always do that first. But to get our angles, we have to move one side of our manila folder. And to get our angles, all we have to do is to match the degree on the protractor. So if we're looking for 15, and it might be hard to see, I would just raise one side of my manila folder until it rests at 15 degrees. And then when we drop the blood, it's going to hit at that angle. For 30, guess what? I would move my edge of my folder up. Let's zoom in a bit here. Notice it's about 30. For 45, I would raise just the one side of the manila folder up to 45, to 60, and then to 75. So that's how you get the different angles. So just to demonstrate, our directions say that we should be dropping from a height of about 50 centimeters. That's about 2 feet. You can just kind of ballpark it, but you should be consistent for each of your angles. So don't change the height you drop at. And I'm getting some blood in my pipette. Okay. So let's say I wanted to do 45 degrees. So again, I would center my folder on the protractor. I would raise it up so that the one side of my manila folder is at 45 degrees. The other side is flat. And then I would do just 3 good drops. I don't want any air in them. That's a little small, so let me try something a little bit larger. That's it's got an air bubble. I guess that's a little better. Maybe we can count that. There we go. Again, an air bubble, don't really like those. It's a little better. 2 and 3. So I got 3 decent drops with no air bubbles. And now what I should probably do is take this paper off my folder, let it dry, and then again in the data table, we're going to fill in the width and the length. I would probably measure it in centimeters. That's going to be more accurate. And then finish my calculations. So again, this is our angle of impact lab. If you have questions at this point, I would ask your teacher.